I'd like to reopen the regular meeting of the Bronxville Board of Trustees for September 11th, 2023. And we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would ask everyone just to think about the day that it is 9/11, and when we say the pledge, think of all of the people from 9/11 who we lost. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And again, just maybe a little moment to reflect upon what today is. I believe it's the 22nd anniversary.
22nd.
Yes. Okay, thank you all for being here. We're going to start with a few special guests. We're going to start first with Lisa Rao, who is our chairman of the Bronxville 125th anniversary. I wish I could say that Latin word that means, but I can't. Lisa has helped Helen, Mary, and myself, Trustee Behrens, Trustee Knapp, getting this wonderful day organized, and we asked Lisa to just share with the community what our plans are.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor Marvin. Good evening, and thank you, Mayor, Village Trustees, and Mr. Palmer. My name is Lisa Rao, and I'm so thrilled to be chairing the Village's 125th anniversary celebration with a fall festival on Sunday, October 1st from 12 to 4 p.m. The committee, comprised of Mayor Marvin, Trustees Knapp and Behrens, and many other dedicated Village residents, have been working incredibly hard over the last few months to make this wonderful event for all, with many exciting elements. This all-ages festival will take place on Pondfield Road between the Village Hall and Library Lawns, and also on Palumbo Place. We'll kick off the event with a very generous outdoor barbecue presented by the Bronxville Police Department. They will be serving barbecue fare along with some food and drink donations by Village vendors. You will definitely not want to miss this event with the chief at the helm. While eating, enjoy the sounds of a local band as they play music to get the crowd moving. The police department is also heading our First Responders Row behind Village Hall, featuring interactive activities for children and adults alike, with a display of police, DPW, fire, and evac vehicles. Our Green Committee will also be back there to present helpful ideas for better ways to keep our homes and community green. Make a stop under the Village Hall awning, where the Bronxville Historical Conservancy is curating a fabulous photo exhibit. There will also be historical characters on hand to interact with and merchandise for sale too. Additionally, the library will be participating with a senior art show and some other exciting elements to be announced. Finally, for our youngest friends, they can pick up a passport around the festival for the kids to explore Palumbo Place and other stops. They'll want to get their passport stamped in order to pick up a fun prize at the end. While doing so, there will be lots of arts and crafts and activities, especially for kids. We have to thank our many community partners who have helped with great ideas and interest in the event. Please support them by stopping by the community table area to visit them, as they will be on hand to help us celebrate. As you can see, it will be a fun for all ages festival. Since 1898, with only 800 residents residing in our village, we've been celebrating milestones. In fact, at the 50th anniversary in 1948, then Mayor Maltby wrote in the Bronxville Reporter, "We are proud of the part we've been privileged to play in maintaining this community's splendid traditions. We are proud to pledge ourselves to continuing loyalty to the ideals that have enabled Bronxville to grow and prosper as a community, not of houses, but of homes." The village last celebrated an important milestone at its centennial celebration 25 years ago. We hope you'll all come and help us celebrate this exciting tradition at our 125th. Thank you to our community sponsors and partners, our Village Hall departments and residents for their help in making this day a day to remember. We look forward to seeing you all on October 1st.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you for all you're doing. And I think it's going to be a great day for the community. It's EVAC and the Public Works, the police department, the library, and every village organization. We kind of just want to make it all-inclusive. Street is going to be closed from Pondfield to Gramerton, and it's just going to be events all afternoon. So please come, and thank you again for doing the lion's share of the work for us. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Lisa.
Next, I see our county legislator, James Nolan, is here. James, I thought you were going to be able to make it because a lot of things, sadly, were canceled, 9/11 outdoor events that I know you were going to in Yonkers.
Yeah.
Just a couple things I have to say when people come. I have to say, on behalf of the police department, they told me they received $3,000 grant that you got them for the National Night Out, and that was the first time they've ever gotten a county grant. And I also have to say thank you. I went down to see the bridge, the famous bridge down at the park, and I know I annoy you weekly, but you have really spearheaded getting that bridge done. And I know they're just waiting for one subcontractor.
Yes.
And then we will have the bridge. And I also have to say thank you. You must reach out to me 2, 3, 4 times a week, maybe. In my 18 years, that's the first time it's ever happened. And I just appreciate what you're trying to do for us. But great thanks from the PD, and thanks from me personally for the bridge.
No problem at all, and actually it was an honor to get it for National Night Out. I'm going to make sure to make it a traditional thing here in Bronxville to get funding for the police department, especially because I have a part of Eastchester now in District 15. It's something that you guys, if you do it separately or together, I'm going to make sure to bring that to wherever it's needed. It's a great event, and I'm happy to be a part of it and happy to see everybody enjoy it. With the bridge, the bridge has been a long time coming. When I actually walked in to office, there was no plans in place, and I had them approved back in April of last year. And a part of that, I was able to have FEMA pick up 90% of the cost. So it saved taxpayers a little about, I think, $640,000. So we were only paying $60,000 on the bridge, which is good. And originally it was supposed to be done next year, but I put so much pressure on them that I was able to get it done and on track now for this upcoming fall to be completed. Along with that, I know there's many questions about the bridge over the Sprain going from Parkview in Yonkers into Tuckahoe.
Right.
The stones haven't been replaced because that was emergency work, and that work is already completed. And the reason why the stones haven't been put back yet is because next year they're going to be doing a full renovation of the entire bridge. So they're going to put the stones back where they were, and it's going to look good as new. Along with that, I also had somebody reach out to my office about possibly writing a letter of support to the state about requesting more money for the sewers here in Bronxville. So we're doing that. That's no problem for us. But also what I decided to do is reach out to the county executive office to see if there's any funding that we can get on the county level to give in addition to the state's funding for Bronxville sewers. So that is something I'm working on as well. We're also going through the budget process right now. We're beginning that process. So if there's anything in Bronxville that is possibly needed, please let me know. Also what I'm doing is, and the police department here can benefit from it, Yonkers Police Department and Fire Department has started construction on a joint facility for training for the police and fire. And the good thing about this, everybody in Westchester County is going to be open to use it. So Bronxville Police Department can go over, or Eastchester, Bronxville Fire Department can go over and use the facility. So I put in a request to complete the training facility, and it has good momentum behind it. So that's definitely a plus. I've also spoken to County Executive Latimer, his entire team, that during the fiscal state that we're in right now, that for this upcoming budget, that we should look for ways to not only decrease property taxes, but also if we can't decrease because the state is trying to put down different bills on us like Medicaid and AT&B, that's roughly a bill of about $70 million we want to hand down to the county, that we should look for a way just to keep property taxes from raising at zero. There's different things I'm trying to do to help protect people and keep them from feeling in the pocket any type of way. So right about now, I actually stole an idea from Con Edison from Yonkers and Bronxville. The Con Edison law that you have, where Con Edison, if they do planned work, I'm taking it to the county level. And if they do planned work on county-owned roads, highways, and sidewalks, that they would have to replace it 25 feet curb to curb. That'll save taxpayers millions of dollars every year. That legislation looks very good, and I'm waiting for it to come down. I'm also waiting on legislation on deed theft, also along with mortgage fraud and deed theft as well. I'm sorry, the other piece was catalytic converter. I apologize. But now I'm working on legislation for mortgage fraud and deed theft. There's another piece of legislation I'm working on. It's along with the ADA that in Westchester County, as the regulators for Lyft and Uber and ride-sharing apps, we don't make it mandatory for them to provide an option for them to give handicap accessible if someone wants, an Uber or Lyft. New York City does, but as a regulator, I am looking for ways to make sure that they provide that option to our residents now. That is something that hasn't been done or brought up in a while. I'm going to make sure to push that forward as much as I possibly can. And as always, if there's anything they can do, please, I'm always available. Mayor Marvin knows this. I'm always available. I'm always around. And we're also going to be working on more flood mitigation plans. We just drove through the district tonight and saw the flooding across District 15. And that is something that we're also working on with the state. The state is going to be doing an entire survey of like the Bronx River, the Sawmill Parkway. When that comes down, I've already started to reach out to see about possible ways about stopping the flooding on the Bronx River, dredging possibly, and also maybe in the Bronxville Lake. After walking through and doing an inspection several times of seeing the bridge status, I've really looked at the Bronxville Lake and I'm taking notice to it, and I brought it to the attention that it needs to be addressed. We have to make sure that it looks beautiful and everybody enjoys it in the park, and I received a number of emails from constituents, and these matters I take very serious. So, like I said, as always, if there's anything they could do, please let me know.
Well, thank you, and I'll reach out to you to see if there's any spot in the county budget that maybe we could benefit from. So, thank you for the update.
I just have one quick question.
Sure.
You mentioned issues around property taxes. I think, everyone who lives in the village as a resident understands property taxes. But, historically, Bronxville, and I guess other localities sort of control their own taxes. We're a bipartisan board. For years it's been an all-Republican board. I think pretty consistently the village has always had the flexibility to raise the cap because there's sort of a trade-off. I mean, sometimes you need to provide necessary services. So I just wanted to clarify that the proposals that are being floated around aren't going to impinge on the historical powers of villages to set their own taxes.
Not that I believe so. Like last year, we were able to reduce property taxes for $6 million in the county, and it's been before I was able to get there 5 years steady lowering taxes. So that's where we're trying to go with that. And if we can't lower it because of what they're trying to hand down to us from the state with 18B, which is roughly around $25 million if it handed down, and then also another 50 if they decide to give us the Medicaid bill. So that we've let it be known that if we can't reduce property tax, at least let's try and find ways to keep it at zero, so that nobody gets hit in the pocket more.
Yeah, I honestly didn't know of the initiative, so I appreciate the clarification.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Legislator Nolan, appreciate that. And I wondered if our wonderful staff, Linda and Joe, if you don't mind, we have a young lady who is going to get a little honor, and I'm thinking they may go to bed before you do. So if you don't mind waiting, thank you. I wanted to start the fall season, and I thought it'd be nice at our monthly meetings to honor students who have achievements in different categories of interest. And Mr. Palmer and I came across a young woman named Emerson Dennis. Emerson, would you like to stand up? Yeah. Emerson won the junior exhibit category at National History Day. She went down at the University of Maryland. It was students from up to the 6th grade from all over the country and even international schools, and they presented their topics about frontiers in history and needed to create a museum-style exhibit. Emerson, believe it or not, did a giant Sears Roebuck catalog and became the first place winner. Her project was entitled Equal Opportunities by Mail, how the Sears Roebuck catalog crossed frontiers in the consumer world. It's stunning, 500,000 students participated, and as the first place winner, Emerson is now known as a National Endowment for the Humanities Scholar. So it's an extraordinary honor, and if you'd like to just say a few words, perhaps you could go over to the microphone, and we just...
Could you use this microphone?
I'm sorry, Emerson, come closer to us. I didn't look up. And if you would just like to say something. And, I should mention your 8th grade teacher. Do I say her name? Is it Mrs. Riedel?
Miss Rydell.
Rydell, she called Miss Rydell at the Bronxville Middle School. And we just wanted to say congratulations, and if you'd like to say a couple words about your incredible achievement.
Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. So Bronxville has always done the National History Day competition at the high school level, but this was the first year that anyone from the middle school has competed in it, and I feel really honored to have won in the first year.
Well, it's extraordinary. So it's the first year for the school, and you won the entire category. That's amazing. So we wanted to just congratulate you and just wish you well and keep it up, win the high school level.
I'll try.
All right.
We'll see you back next year.
Yes, you can come back next year.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
How did you come up with such an interesting topic?
Well, I've always been fascinated by different perspectives in history, and I thought, what better way to view those perspectives than through what people bought? And Miss Rydell, my teacher, we were thinking of topics, and she recommended the Sears Roebuck catalog for me. And so, as I was researching the Sears Roebuck catalog, I came up with my thesis. And my project is about how the Sears Roebuck catalog and other mail order companies in America in the early 20th century gave marginalized groups and those living in rural communities equal access to consumer goods.
That's incredible. Really fascinating.
And before I let you go, I see you have some family members. Would you like to introduce your support team and probably who helped you win such an incredible award?
Yeah. These are my parents, my 2 younger sisters, and my grandparents.
Oh.
And they supported me throughout the whole way and helped me a lot. And
Well, congratulations on behalf of It's a terrific honor, and we do expect you back here next September. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, that's why I noticed the age of some of our guests here, so that's why.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. And now to our wonderful staff, and I see our court clerk, Kelly, has come just to honor her friends and associates. We have Linda Thomas and Joe Scaglione, and between them, they have given 73 years of service to the village of Bronxville, which is extraordinary. I'm going to start with Linda, because Linda only has 36 years of service to the village versus Joe's 37. Linda was in the parking enforcement office, and I call it the hottest seat in the house. Linda and I had a joke that she said, "I just met your best friend who needs her ticket fixed." And I said, "Who's my best friend today?" Yeah. And Linda, steadfast. Linda was so principled, but so diplomatic, and you were a treasure in that office. And I watched how you transitioned more than any office, I think, to technology, and you really handled it so well. Linda, just a little background, born, raised, and lives in Mount Vernon with her son. And I know one of your hobbies is flea markets. And, and she comes back with some great finds. And one of my favorite stories, when I asked you once for a memory, is when you saw our current police chief, then a young patrolman, eat an entire pizza himself for lunch.
That was just the start.
Yeah. And Linda is so valuable here that Linda actually wanted to retire, tried to get out of the parking lot, and we have her back part-time. So, Linda, would you like to say a few words? We would love to have you.
I think she can go with that one. Works now.
Oh, and
Linda,
Peter
you can use
put
that
the
one.
microphone there for you. And Jim Palmer has some really special certificates from the New York State Conference of Mayors. So, but yes, Linda.
It's a pleasure working for the Village of Bronxville, and I will miss all of you. Not for long.
No.
I figured I want to get you. And Steve.
Steve.
My mom didn't make it tonight because she already went to bed. But she said she'll deal with you later.
Linda's mom is how old?
My mom is 99 years old.
Yes, and she takes good care of her.
Yes.
Yes.
She's got eyes on you.
Yeah.
And also Mr. Palmer, even though we share the same birthday.
You still like him?
Yeah, he's okay. I'll give him a pass.
Give him
All right. But, yeah. And it's a pleasure working with you.
Well, continue. We enjoy having you with us, even though it's only part-time.
Yeah, I'm still working on the lottery, too.
Yes, yeah. We haven't won yet, but that's okay. Oh, well, it's good to have you still with us, Linda.
Okay,
But
thank
thank you for your...
Yep, Linda, just stay there. Just stay there for a second. Perfect photo, Steve.
Yes.
You're welcome.
So, yeah, and Mayor, what you said was, honestly, I mean, with that kind of tenure, it really is unbelievable. And she, when you think of how the technology has changed that much, and of course, she worked very closely with Kelly in the court office before taking on parking. And I got to tell you, Linda, always one of the first employees to arrive here, and her attention to detail and knowing which cars are supposed to be booted and how many tickets. Honestly, she could recite the report that she provides to the police department for the complimentary 3 times a month that you're able to park on street. And she absolutely would come in with all guns blazing if we had someone with too many outstanding tickets, and, but again, that kind of attention to detail before someone can get a permit. It's just, it was a really tough position, and you handled it really well, and it's nice to have her here tonight because Kelly arranged for a wonderful send-off, retirement dinner for her at Fogarty's over the summer, and it was really touching. Actually, one of the former mayors in Mount Vernon came, and it was nice for me to meet, for everyone from Village Hall, to meet your family and her mother, who I know is can be tough. I had to get her permission to allow Linda to be able to come back, but she seemed to be okay with that. So again, just from the bottom of my heart, and you know, our whole team at Village Hall, again, hopefully we can keep you on a part-time basis for a long time. We tried to let Linda have the summer off. But yeah, you do it with a smile. It's really tough, and just want to make sure that you know it's absolutely appreciated. So I just want to give you a couple certificates too. This one is just a recognition of 36 years of service with the village of Bronxville. You have distinguished yourself with dedication and outstanding work on behalf of our community, and you also have a certificate from Nikon, and they even rounded that up for you.
Stand together.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, that's really nice.
Steve, you should get in. Okay. Yes. Congratulations. Thank you.
Oh, I think Jim, Steve wanted to get a picture.
Oh, that's perfect.
Thank you.
And then we have the wonderful Joe Scaglione, who was with us one more year than Linda, 37 years of service. Joe, Bronx born, lives in Yonkers, has a grown daughter, Jenna, and Joe remembers when the parking tickets were $5, and they were done with pen and paper. And I remember you telling me you still have your tin box with your original stubs. Can you just picture that? A former bowler and softball player, but you admitted now you have gentler pursuits, I believe you said, of movies and concerts. One of the great memories you told me was you remember when a car hit a deer right in front of the post office on Pondfield Road. So, so that started a long time ago. And typical of someone who works in the village, Joe retired, and what did he do? Come in for us last week to cover as a crossing guard, because we were in a real dire straits, school starting, and the go-to person are our wonderful staff. So that speaks volumes about you, Joe. So come on up, say a few words, and a big thank you on behalf of all of us.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. Yeah. I was actually doing crossing today, too, on Midland Avenue.
Oh,
I saw you down at the bottom.
I stopped Mr. Palmer today to cross the kids.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
But it's, yeah, I worked for a lot of chiefs and a lot of police officers over the years, and a lot of parking enforcement, which I trained a lot over the years. And
Right?
I worked a long time with Linda, of course, and Kelly, and Mary Ann. She's helped me out a few times in office things, and I was helping out Tommy, collecting the money, also doing that, and counting the money and doing all that kind of stuff. So I got to do a lot of different things in the village, and I appreciated the people I worked for, and it's a great village, and I just really enjoyed myself, and I'll still come and do some crossing guard duty to help out, and get a nice suntan, and
We won't let you go.
yeah, it's been fun. It's been good. It's been a nice. It went by fast.
Yeah, well.
Started when I was 25, and I'm 62 now. So.
Wow, and unlike Mr. Palmer, you still have your hair. You've done a great job for us, and you've always done it with such calmness, and,
I think that was the best way to do it. I try to be fair with the people as best you can, and I think the people were very nice. A lot of the merchants, very nice people over the years, and the village is, it's changed a little, but not still. It still has that same feeling though. From I started in 1986, it still
wow.
still has that feeling of small town village, and it's been great. I really enjoyed it.
Well, thank you. We appreciate you so very much, and thank you for coming tonight. It means a lot to us, too. Jim?
Thanks. Yeah, and again, you've heard this before. Again, small team, Joe, flexible. He's done it all. Parking enforcement, assisted collection, and again, crossing. And this is just what it takes in a small village. Always here nice and early. And again, our parking operation, I mean, you all know, it's significant. I mean, the village collectively, between Joe and all the parking enforcement officers, issue just parking tickets, not the moving village, close to 30,000 parking tickets a year. And again, as we always try to explain to people,
Do we want to advertise?
I know. And we're not out, we do it because it's we're managing a very complex parking situation.
Yeah.
Some merchants say, get out there and issue a ticket, because you're balancing, again, as a hub and resident parkers, Metro North, anyway, Joe's done it really well. He's out there early, and, walking from the village hall all the way to the west side throughout the day and back, it's a lot, but we could call Joe up. Can you get out to this area, look at this spot? And yeah, all things considered, I think the residents, the merchants have absolutely respected what you've done. And part of it's educating people and explaining why we enforce those times, right? So people can get out of a spot and someone, anyway, Joe's handled it really well. And again, a lot of changes over the years. So good man, we love you. And again, we had a nice send off for Joe at the DPW garage this summer. Gave him Chris Linda got some gifts at her event. And then Joe, we gave him a nice portrait of Village Hall that everyone had signed, that hopefully you have hanging up in your living room. And so anyway, thanks so much again, Joe, and a couple certificates for you.
Thanks
I forgot to
again.
say, I do talk with Lori too about football. Lori's good.
Again, Joe, recognition of your 37 years of service with the Village of Bronxville. You've distinguished yourself for your dedication and outstanding work on behalf of the entire community. Thanks so much. Oops.
Aw.
Well done. And a nice certificate from my account too. Maybe you can put this one up. So, both Steves together. Nice. Put some hair on that.
Thank you, Joe. And it says so much about the camaraderie that Kelly is here. And I don't know if we honored Kelly, but I don't know if many of you know, Kelly was named the #1 court clerk in New York State. So we have an incredible... We have quite a team sitting back there on the left, so thank you to all three of you for your incredible service to the village. Thank you.
Just another 10 years, right, Kelly?
Mayor, do we want to have just a quick break to maybe get a picture of all three of the people together that we've recognized?
Oh, that would be nice.
Very nice.
Yes.
I think that would be
Maybe-
nice to have.
Stephen, maybe a picture of all three together. I think that's, thank you. Thank you, Bill, for thinking of that. Thanks, Stephen.
Good for the newsletter, too. Yeah, perfect, Steve, yeah.
That will be great for our newsletter, yeah. Yeah. Clerk.
Nice.
All right, and then we have, I'm going to let Helen introduce, because Helen is our point person on all things library, and we have some incredible women who are doing amazing things.
I was just going to say the exact same thing.
All right.
I was going to say, we're thrilled to have like these two incredible women back
Yes.
here who are behind so much of the wonderful things that our public library is doing. Margaret Major, the chair of the Board of Trustees of the Bronxville Library, and Christina Kritikos on the board of the Friends of the Bronxville Library. Library trustee. Oh, library trustee too? Okay. You know, were you? Okay, anyway. Liaison, okay. Who have been working together along with a really dedicated committee to conceptualize and plan this incredible new addition to the library, the reading garden that will be in the back of the library, which the village is thrilled to be a contributor to. We approved, was it last month? A donation of $150,000 to the project, and I know you all are embarking in a great deal of fundraising. So did you want to come up and say a few words about what's going on with the project? I know Jim is going to give an update on the contracts and where we are in the bidding process, but if you'd like to say anything, please, we'd love to give the public a chance to hear straight from you guys.
So just to give you a brief overview, as Helen mentioned, we are doing a outdoor revitalization of the library, and the main focus will be a patio. We are going out to bid this week. Jim has been managing that process. We are looking to raise $600,000, and with contributions from the village and the Friends, we are about halfway to our goal. Wow. And the Friends are going to do a big letter writing campaign and ending with a fundraiser in the spring. So we're very excited about the project, and we appreciate the support, particularly of Helen and the mayor and the rest of the village trustees. And if you have any additional questions, please let us know. But we're working very closely with Jim moving forward to get the process started with the contractors, and the work will hopefully be underway in mid-October. Wow. So we're moving very much according to our timeline, and it's going to be a very exciting initiative once we launch, especially after the big 125th right. Centennial celebration.
Yeah, and whatever display you want to have.
Christina Kritikos.
And to have a display in the library to, show the plans during that day would be, a really great way for all the people in the community to see what it's going to look like.
Yes, absolutely.
That would be
we have
terrific.
The big board up currently. We can move it outdoors. And the whole focus of the Friends group this year will be fundraising for it and really showcasing the library to the town. They have a phenomenal letter appeal that they're fine-tuning right now. They'll show it to you probably next week before it goes to the public. And it'll really put a nice spotlight to the library. It's such an important corner, important part of our village. So it will really showcase to the town how important the library is to the community.
Yeah.
Thank you, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both, and thank everyone on your boards for all you're doing. And we're working seamlessly together, so it works perfectly. I think that's my mayor's report. I couldn't top all the good guests we've had tonight, so thank you all. Thank you.
Joe, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So then I will move Village Administrator Palmer. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, I didn't ask my fellow trustees if, Mary, you probably have an update on the Maltby.
Park, yes. I wanted to give an update on Maltby Park. I'm pleased to announce that Maltby Park is very near completion. After the official ribbon cutting on Saturday, September 23rd, the park will be open to the public on Sunday, September 24th. The park is beautiful, lots of great state-of-the-art playground equipment, park benches, picnic tables, and a big open green space, all surrounded by a very smart-looking black fence. I really want to thank Jim Palmer and his team, Stephen and everyone, for their incredible hard work, and for the Bronxville resident Ashley Sharp, she could not be here this evening, for her hard work for making this a reality. It came around in very quick time, and your team did an incredible job. The Friends of Maltby have also done a lot with the fundraising. They really galvanized a ton of people in the community, and also, of course, to the mayor, who has been behind this project and been supportive of it from the inception. Maltby Park, as a reminder, is 2.7 acres of grass. Now it's got picnic tables, benches, and playground equipment down by the village paddle courts on Paxton Avenue next to the farmer's market. The village committed, if you recall, $150,000, and the Friends of Maltby Park have thus far raised $474,000. We are still silently fundraising for the project, and there's an easy tab on the homepage of the village website if people are still interested in giving money. Any monies received going forward will be for future landscaping. The response to the renovations of the park has been very, very positive and overwhelming, quite frankly, and the trustees are just super excited and overwhelmed with the generosity and support of our residents. We look forward to many great memories at Maltby Park in the years to come, and thank you.
Oh, thank you. Great.
Thank you, Mary, because Mary is the trustee point person, and you were really the galvanizer of us to really get interested in doing this. And this is just an amazing civic generosity by this village.
Yeah.
And thank you for leading the way.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Any other trustee reports or comments, or before I send it to Mr. Palmer?
I'll have a matter at the end of the meeting, but I just wanted to say that I ran into I think it was Joe's replacement as parking enforcement officer today. Just by chance, I introduced myself. Her name is April, and I must say she is just a pleasure to say hello and to introduce myself to her and her to me. And I just told her that although she might not always be popular with people that she ran into on the street, she was very popular with the trustees and Village Hall. And while we recognize these folks who are leaving the village or came back on their commitment, I want to commend Jim Palmer and his team for bringing on, the next generation of village public servants, and I hope all residents just appreciate how lucky we are to have all the people we have at Village Hall, because it's the people that really makes the government go on a day-to-day basis. I just thought it was ironic that I'd met the new PEO and chatted with her on this evening. So sorry, Mary.
Thank you. No, appreciate that. That's very nice. Thank you, Bill. Jim?
All right, let's see some housekeeping. So I should announce then that the October meeting that's currently on the village calendar, that was scheduled for Tuesday, October 10th. That was the day after Columbus Day, is being rescheduled to Monday, October 16th. Monday, October 16th, and I think that was just pending confirmation from Trustee Fredericks that worked for you.
And I think Trustee Knapp also.
Trustee Knapp.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead
good.
and, yeah, but let's, Mary Ann, can you tickle that? We'll tentatively put that on the calendar, let everyone know that we will, that's being changed to October 16th unless further notice to accommodate everyone's schedule. And let's see, the only other announcement is in conjunction with the Columbus Day holiday, village offices will be closed. There won't be any sanitation collection on that day. Just a reminder, use of gas-powered leaf blowers currently still prohibited until October 15th, at which time use of gas-powered blowers will be permitted until December 15th. Stephen, maybe you can help me work on something. I'll remind everyone from October 15th to December 15th. We still get that question from time to time.
It would be helpful to reemphasize that because you hear the blowers going constantly.
Perfect.
Are they gas blowers or electric
Gas.
blowers?
So the blowers can be used from October 15th to December 15th?
Yes.
Gas-powered blowers, correct. Yeah. For that, for that 2-month period. Let's see, and then just briefly, given the rain that we had this evening, the board knows that we are moving as quickly as we can with our engineer on our engineering team on our drainage improvements. I have a meeting with the 2 engineers, both the Eastchester engineer and our consulting engineer, for the improvements for the Crawford drainage system on Wednesday. Again, that's with the 2 engineers. That survey work was completed over the summer, and there's some preliminary designs. I've been communicating with both of the owners right at the end of Duesenberry who are most impacted, and unfortunately were impacted again tonight. So they're very anxious to see those improvements take place. And again, for the public's edification, that project is being done in partnership with the town of Eastchester, since it makes up what we call the Crawford Drainage Basin, which straddles the village and town border. Also, we did have our Zoom meeting. It was with the residents of Hamilton and Sussex over the summer. That was early August, to give them an update. And I was checking with the engineer today. We are following with that schedule of being able to have some of the test pits conducted over the course of the next 2 weeks. And the purpose of the test pits is to drill into some of the blacktop, confirm soil conditions, and to also confirm where those utilities are located, because as the board knows, based on the preliminary designs, we want to make sure that we're able to put the stormwater conveyance system in a location that meets the separation requirements from gas and water utilities. And also just wanted to mention that the mayor and I and Stephen did a walk around with the consultant, as legislator Nolan had mentioned, the consultant SLR, who's being funded through the New York State Resilient Program, being overseen by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, for evaluating and studying and coming up with the short and long-term solutions for the flooding along the Bronx River, not just within the village of Bronxville, but just south of us and north of us. It actually covers many towns. But SLR was here, and we did walk with them the entire corridor from Parkway Road, and pointed out the damage that we had there, all the way up to the areas along Lower Milburn and Stone Place. So that study is underway. We're anxious to hear what their findings are. School pump system was on. It was on throughout the weekend. It was on again today. We do still have work that we need to do within the easement area behind Park Avenue. There are a couple shallow areas that just in that 72-inch line that result in water actually being discharged from that pipe. You know, part of the issue is the pumps work great, but we still have to be able to get the water to the pumps. So that continues to be a work in progress. So I just wanted to give an update on that. And again, meeting with the Crawford Group, we will probably arrange for another meeting with the Hamilton Sussex Group in the coming weeks. There is some outstanding questions that they, some excellent questions that they asked regarding why not prepare for a much larger flood event than what we had preliminary design for? But AJ is reviewing the data, reviewing the survey work, and I think what he's going to indicate is that we will be able to address an event considerably larger than just a 25-year event in that Hamilton, Sussex. So I've kept that note from those residents on my desk. And
yeah, I think just to clarify on that, I think that all the board members who have met with local residents have said that there's interest in the board in hearing options, and you know, we aren't going into this with just some arbitrary notion of 1 in 25 years, 1 in 50 years, 1 in 10,000, 1 in 10 years. I think we want to see what the options are and, you know, make the best decision. And you know, we aren't arbitrarily going to pick any particular limit. I think we want to see the data and see the options and make the best choice, not based on anything arbitrary or a preset notions.
Mr. Palmer, anything else?
That's it.
I think I don't want to let you not mention Sagamore Park, because you've done such an amazing job on that renovation, which we put $150,000 in to renovate the playground equipment and to replace a lot of the structures that had been kind of aged out, and to really spruce it up. And we've gotten you have gotten a lot of comments, the village has gotten a lot of comments on how wonderful those renovations are and how much residents are enjoying it now that it's in place. And I believe there's still some leftover funds for even maybe another piece or two.
We're working on it. Yep, yeah, we're working on it. Yes, get out and enjoy that area. Yes, it's did a lot of some other cleanup too. And I got to say, DPW, you know, we try to do stuff in-house when we can, and Department of Public Works did a great job removing some of the initial soil to make way for the contractors. So, you know, hats off to them. And we did a lot of tree work to make the area very safe. Yep, real pleased. And they came out. Yep.
Thank you, Jim, and thank you, Stephen, too.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. All right, we go to approval of minutes, and speaking of great village employees, Miss Mary Ann, I couldn't function without her. That's quite clear.
Nor could I.
Yeah.
Nor could I.
Yeah.
I just have one little, there's one little typo on page 2 about Sergeant Blessington. Thank you. That's my only comment.
Perfect, so with the...
It's a minor issue.
Right.
The titles.
And I gave Mary Ann some comments earlier on the public comment part of it.
All right, so with 2 minor changes, very minor, do I have a motion to approve 3 sets of minutes? The executive work session of June 12th, the regular meeting of June 12th, and our additional work session of June 17th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Mary Ann. And Jim Palmer, do you want to, we just have two pieces of new business tonight.
Yes, so let's see, the first one is to schedule a public hearing for, we're identifying as local law number 5 already of 2023, clarifying residency requirements for certain public officials. And so council has drafted this. You all have a copy of it. We are cleaning up chapter 47 to basically essentially Westchester County, for that matter, New York State Public Service, New York State Civil Service, requires that we identify those positions that are maintained by public officials, and public officials have certain residency requirements. And we brought an assistant building inspector on board, and the county identified that we didn't have that position identified with a residency requirement. So we've added that, and we've also clarified the building inspector's residency requirement, and those get added simply with the others that we have, such as the village clerk, deputy clerk, again requiring that these positions are maintained by someone who's a resident of Westchester County or within 60 miles of the village of Bronxville, and also a resident of New York. So it's clarification of adding, and also the assistant village administrator position as well. So we're clarifying those, and then we're removing one section, 61-5, which was, is no longer needed. That goes back to 1974. So if we can just schedule that, and schedule that for, it would be for the October 16th meeting.
All right, a motion to schedule a public hearing and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. And our final resolution.
Yes, and the next item is once again just retaining BPAS to assist us with the actuarial analysis for our post-employment benefit analysis that is done pursuant to requirements under GASB 75, and we've used them in the past, so that's just a customary agreement. It's actually a competitive price, given that we're piggybacking.
And do you want to spell out who BPAS is?
BPAS, Actuarial and Pension Services.
Or is
Do
that
we know what
just their
BPAS
name?
stands for? I'm not even.
That's fine, that's
Yep.
just their name?
Yeah.
Right, okay. I just didn't know if it...
It's like X.
Yes.
Yes,
the name of
like
a company.
X, okay.
Just the formal name is BPAS, Actuarial and Pension Services, LLC. Yep.
Oh, perfect. All right, and before I ask for the motion, thank you, Lori, our treasurer, for always staying
Yes.
for our meetings. We appreciate having you here, so thank you. So do I have a motion to authorize the use of BPAS's services?
So moved.
All right, and a second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, that's the end of the formal part of the meeting. And trustees, any comment before I open it up to the public on any subject?
Yeah, just briefly, I hope this won't be controversial. I think we're all trying to be very transparent on the Route 22 project, and it occurred to me and another trustee that because there isn't a lot in writing from the most recent expert, and then I know there's also some comment, well, people can read or can view the videotape, which is nice. It seemed to me that it would be helpful and sensible and consistent with what would normally happen to at least get a transcript of the presentation made so that we don't have a situation in terms of people say, well, I heard someone say so-and-so. No, they didn't say that. They said something else. And I think that having a transcript is probably going to be helpful to both sides because I think there was stuff said that both people for and against and maybe neutral would reference. And so, again, I think we agreed to have this discussion openly, so we're all operating in the open on that. But I think it would be helpful to have a transcript. I think it would avoid having misunderstandings, and I think that part of the problem that has developed with the crosswalk is that there's just been some confusion and people sort of saying, you said this, or no, you said that. And since we don't have any written report, we just had sort of slides, I think it would be helpful to get a transcript. We have zoning board meetings that always used to be transcribed when I was there, say for the planning board. I think it would just be helpful to have that on the right, so people can sort of say, well, what did someone say, and there's a transcript.
We don't have but the YouTube, right, is a complete recording.
We have an
of that?
hour and 43-minute YouTube, but I think, again, someone might be able to say, well, go to 1 hour and 5 minutes, and, so-and-so said that, and literally it might be true, but then someone could sort of say, well, yeah, but if you look at minute 38 or whatever, it says something. I think I just think it will be
What is the-
cleaner to have a transcript so that we have.
What does the transcript do that doesn't, because you could do the same thing with a transcript. You could go to page 35, and he says the same thing. What does it do that the YouTube doesn't do?
Because I think if people have questions or they want to put something in a submission, and I imagine that there's going to be some additional submissions or back and forth from people, I think that it just makes it so much more convenient. I'm a practicing attorney. I mean, there's a reason why you have a transcript. Because, a judge sort of says, where is it in the record that says this? And I can sort of say, okay, I see it says this. And other side says, yeah, it says that, but, if you turn to page 2, if you have a YouTube video, what are we going to do? Are we going to have a videotape operator to, zip back and forth? It's just very confusing, and I think that in an environment where we want clarity, we don't want people making accusations, no, they said this, no, they said something else, that's a desirable thing. And as I say, for 14 years when I was on the zoning board, we had transcripts made of every zoning board meeting. And I think we'll just minimize confusion. And some people may also say, I don't have time to sit down and read 143, I don't have time to spend an hour and 43 minutes to listen to a YouTube thing, but I'm happy to sort of, flip through and sort of say, okay, this is what the chief said, or, I want to look at the introductory statements. I can read that in my briefcase while I'm going into the office or doing something else. So, again, none of us have really discussed this before, but I honestly think that this will save heartburn, and it won't be asking for anything new or different. It'll just be having something that we can all, put on the record.
How quickly can we
give
do that?
citizens an opportunity to look at.
I'll look into it tomorrow.
How much does it cost to do a transcript? So you have a stenographer listen to the YouTube video, is that how it works?
Well, you would just, give it to a stenographer. I mean, I don't know who we use now, but, I mean, I'm sure Mr. Stout's for.
I don't know how much, it's more expensive than you think sometimes, but we have people who could do that.
And the court has someone, I guess, I can get a quote from Mara, what we use at the court.
I mean, I'm just saying, we would do it routinely at every 2 or 3 hour meeting of the zoning board.
But do we do it now? Do we do any other transcripts? I mean, just wondering about the precedent, if we do it consistently, or do we just pick certain,
And I think
things
the
to...
zoning board's a legal requirement because there's potential lawsuits.
Well, now it's recorded as well, but I had made a prior suggestion to suggest getting some written clarification on a particular issue, and the point was raised that, well, does that sort of sound like you're putting thumb on the scales to sort of try to reshape people's prior testimony? I think this is clearly neutral, and again, I think for people who sort of say, well, I really don't have time to listen to an hour and 43 YouTube tape, but I can read it on the train, or I can look at it. I prefer to read, or I'd like something that maybe I can just make notes on myself. I think that it's a consistent thing to do. In terms of precedent, I mean, look, the alternative would be we could ask, the consultant, for example, or the chief, for example, to put something in writing, which would normally be the result. I think whatever we do is probably cheaper just to get a transcript than to ask the consultant to prepare a written report.
That's probably true.
This is new to me, so I have to think about this a little bit, to tell you the truth, because I am worried about the precedent-setting value of any time we have an issue that might be contentious, that people would ask for a written transcript. And I'm just concerned that it would deviate from...
When there is a recording already.
When they're in, and frankly, if they don't have an hour and change to listen, maybe they're not that interested.
Well, I think that's a little harsh, but I would say that the precedent is that, you get a written report so that you have something that is. Now, I was, as it so happened, I was out of the country in May when the board agreed to retain Collier. That's fine, they came in. I mean, if I'd been around, I probably would have suggested at the time, hey, what's the report going to look like? We have reports from our other consultants, which are all in writing. We put them on the website. I just think that if, that in a situation where there has in the past been concern by one side or the other, that one side or the other is misrepresenting this or made a mistake as to that I just think that, having a document out there which actually records what people said, reflects what people said, is going to eliminate a whole lot of hassle. And, that's what you do if it was a court proceeding, that's what you do is zoning board proceeding, and maybe it's different, but I think that the controversy we've had, I won't say controversy, I say the difference of opinion, and to some extent misunderstanding that we have, warrants it in this case. That's my view. I mean, I don't know whether other trustees have an opinion.
I think it's a very well-stated position. I just don't get it. I worry about precedent. I mean, in my 19 years, we've not done that. We've had big issues such as,
Tax
our homestead votes, which were highly contentious. And we all have our statements are in part of the public record, and our votes in the public record, and that's been videotaped, so that's there. I don't know. I'm not swayed by this, Bill. I appreciate the argument, but I'm not swayed by it.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, that we've gone through some probably even more difficult decisions and never went to the cost of transcribing them, but just had them fully on the entire A to Z. I mean, it goes back to, the revaluation. And I'm just worried that anytime there might be a difference of opinion, big, small, or in between, that we go to the transcript. And I do know, I think it's very different, the zoning board needing a transcript, because there's people who then sue from the transcript. So, and honestly, this is all a new thought to me, so I have to think about it.
We could also have Jim inquire as to the cost of what it would, if it's an insignificant cost or not a very large cost, it might be better.
I think the precedent is a major issue. I just don't see, especially in this day, everybody looks at everything on YouTube. Much more so, I think, from a non-legal point of view, than looking at a transcript and wading through pages and pages of transcript. I think the fact that we have the YouTube video that's so easily accessible, nobody's got to download it onto their phone and try and parse through, pages on their iPhone, that it is there as incontrovertible, and then you can actually see the nuance of the person as they're giving it, as opposed to sometimes, the written word is actually less understandable than what is shown on there on the video. But again, I was not there at the meeting. I was out of town, but
yeah, I mean, my point though is that people are always free to read or view the video. However, if someone comes in and has a perspective to raise and wants to say, so-and-so said this in support of my position, or so-and-so said something else, it's almost, as a practical matter, we're going to have a board meeting in October, to hear this, we're all going to, well, look at it again. I'm sure we're going to be getting letters and correspondence. I don't want to be reading a bunch of emails and correspondence where people are saying X, or people saying that so-and-so said X or not. if I get 10 emails from people saying, but so-and-so said this, didn't you read what the chief said? The chief said this. Or didn't you read what Collier's expert said this? He said this. Are we all really going to be going back to read to view a YouTube transcript 20 times to see whether it's accurately portrayed or not? I want to be able to look at a transcript and say, okay, that's an accurate statement. I can deal with that. But I think, with all due respect to the mayor and the deputy mayor, and the mayor we're very lucky to have, because I know you've got a law degree, and law degrees are bad for some things, but for those of us who sort of deal in the day-to-day with this kind of stuff, look at the evidence. I think it's just setting up a miasma, and can any of us honestly say that when someone says to us, didn't you read this part of the transcript where someone said X? Are we really going to all go back to the transcript and say X? I mean, I watched the video myself over the weekend, and I learned a couple of things that, listening to it more closely, and if I did it 4 times, probably better. But my gut tells me, speaking of gut, is that we're going to get submissions and comments and questions. There's going to be discussion in the community as to, people said this or that.
And go to the YouTube video. Just go to the YouTube video. I'll watch it with them.
You're going to do that 15 times, or you're going to truthfully say, when there's a board meeting in October, we're asked to view it, and will you be able to truthfully say, I read 15 comments from people where they said X and Y and Z, and for each time I went back and I wanted to make sure that this was correct?
I listen to video. I read every comment that comes through. I participated in this. I asked questions. I've looked at the YouTube video. I'm going to make a decision on that.
Well, what if you have a friend who sort of says, I'm happy to read this stuff on my way to the train. You can say, no, we've spent X amount of money to get all these expert opinions. You're out of luck, because if you don't have an hour and 43 minutes to watch the YouTube video, that's the only way you get to watch it.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Because
I don't think it hurts to have a transcript, personally. I think it goes on the record of a very long meeting that had a lot of facts that then clarifies exactly what everybody says in writing, and we can put that online that people then can download and look at. I mean, if the cost is prohibitively expensive, then I would want to reconsider it, but...
I can tell you that, as my colleague in the bar, Mr. Stout, will testify, transcripts, like most things in the law, cost more than they should, or that a normal person might think. But as I can say, from being chairman of the zoning board, for 14 years, we did it, and you didn't do it just when an appeal was taken. You took it for every case. I think we had maybe one appeal, in 14 years, but it was done as a matter of course because the cost was deemed effectively de minimis. And if we could do it for 14 years, for every time, the 11 times a year that the zoning board met to do it, and we do it as a matter of routine for that, on stuff that maybe, once in 5 blue moons there's an appeal, I simply respectfully disagree that almost any cost is going to be other than trivial. And frankly, I think some people may think that this is, a desire to not have, the report and the comments be able to be readily accessible. I mean, the whole point of having the forum was to allow people to. Now, I can tell you, I think there were 236 views of the video that I saw today when I happened to look at it. But if I were one of those people, actually, I was one of those people, I would sort of say, you know, I would like to have a transcript of that because I listened through it and I remember, you know, this was interesting and that was interesting. I'd like to go back and actually read again what was said. So, I mean, I'm happy to bring this to a close, but I would like to move that the board agree to transcribe the forum. No one's going to add to it or track to it. That we transcribe it, that we put it on the website, and particularly in the context where we do have no written report from Collier and no written report from the chief. In the alternative, if you didn't want to do that, I'd move that we ask both of them for a brief written report, but I think that's a waste of time when you can just do a transcript.
Was Collier, did it ever come up that he would provide an executive summary of his study and findings? Just a one-pager?
He could. He could. I mean, it would probably be what the what the slides were, but put the slides into a summary, sure. Yeah.
But
I mean, we could do that. I just, again, it was just for him doing a presentation. I had him do a slideshow, but he could certainly take his findings, which are in that data collection, and put it into a summary report. Sure.
But the comment I got, from one of the trustees to an earlier suggestion that we asked for clarification on a particular point was that sounded like we were putting our hands on the scale if we're asking about this or that. I think the best record of what he said was what he testified to. I mean, we could ask him for a general summary as well, but I mean, there was 100 minutes of stuff there, so I'm not opposed to that, but I still would like to have a transcript.
Okay, why don't you make a motion?
Yeah, I'll restate the motion. I'd like to move that we request a transcript be made by a professional, neutral service recommended to us by Village Council. That is a verbatim transcript of the forum town hall that was held here on Thursday here at Village Hall. I think I've adequately stated the reasons for why I think that's appropriate. I think, Madam Mayor, the next question would be for you to ask whether there's a second.
Sure, I'll second it.
Okay. I have to say I would have to vote no, only because this is brand new to me just in the last half hour, and I'm pretty positive, having been on the zoning board, that it was a requirement because somebody can sue the zoning board if they don't get what they want, and luckily we have very few lawsuits. And I'm just really concerned about the precedential value because, as you and I know, in the years we've been here, we've had a lot of town halls and forums and relied on people watching the YouTube or stopping it when they wanted to only hear the chief. So especially new to me tonight, I would have to not vote in the affirmative.
I'm a no.
I'm a no.
I would vote yes.
I would vote yes as well.
Okay. All right.
Can I assume, Madam Mayor, from your comments that you will take some additional time to think about it, and if you, in consultation, with Bob or Helen, come to a different view that you guys can go ahead and do it. I mean, I think Mary and I can notify you if for some reason we change our votes, but I understand you want some additional time, and I don't think that that's unfair. But I think we can probably all agree trustees, that if the mayor decides, like later this week on balance, that she's inclined to do it, that the mayor's authorized to do that. Can we all agree to that?
Well, I don't know, will we have another vote then?
We would probably have to have another vote. But you're right, I think the three of us will think about it, certainly in light of what, the pros and cons of it. And, but I think we would have to have another vote just to do it correctly.
Let me ask legal counsel. I mean, this strikes me as a pretty administrative matter. I mean, we don't have to, vote on everything as a board every time,
But
someone wants to go to the bathroom. So my question to council would be, simply as a convenience to all of us, given that there are presently 2 votes for, 3 against, and the mayor has indicated he wants to think about it a little bit more, do you think, as legal counsel, that the board needs to reconvene to authorize getting a transcript of a public hearing transcribed and put on the website? It seems to me, as a lawyer, we don't have board resolutions about everything else that goes on the village website. I mean, it would seem to me that the mayor would have that authority.
But isn't it a money expenditure? And I believe we have to have a vote when it's a money expenditure.
That's normally the case, and we have a vote here saying that you don't want to do it. So specifically, I think, that you don't want to do the transcript. So unless you're proposing, I'm not sure what how you're proposing.
Perhaps a re-vote, I think Bill is saying.
Well, I guess my question is, if I were to make a motion that the board authorize the mayor, should the mayor, upon reflection, agree that this is appropriate, would it be in order for me to make a motion that the board delegate to her that authority, so we don't all have to reconvene or have a special meeting to go through what would then be a fairly pointless exercise of having, I don't know, a 3-2 or 4-1 vote? I'm just trying.
I see what you're saying. I suppose you could, I don't know of any reason why you couldn't do that.
Okay. In that case, I'd like to propose a resolution that the board agree, in light of the prior vote, that should the mayor decide to change her position on the issue and conclude that having a transcript prepared is a good idea, that the board agree to delegate to the mayor the authority to implement such an intention, get a transcript prepared, and publish it without the need for the board to have a further meeting. That would be my resolution.
We've done those kind of resolutions before, where we've given you the power away from the meeting if deemed necessary. I mean, I believe we've done that.
Yeah, I've made a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it, because I believe we've done this before.
I mean, no.
I don't even know, I'm so far confused, maybe my jet lag is kicking in, but I can't say,
I'd be more
not be in favor of
comfortable,
this.
given it's an important issue, that this isn't a spot to delegate, given the, the importance of it. So I would have to say no.
I would like make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, we will be back here on October 16th.